You know, there are many departments, many disciplines here in this school, and sometimes we kind of isolate ourselves into our department, the Senior Adventures in Ministry, the School of Preaching, the Ladies Program, and other disciplines. Maybe we're kind of isolated sometimes, our international department across the street and advancement and various other departments, our School of Missions. We kind of view ourselves sometimes as the university of schools of preaching. And because there's so many things that go on here, it's almost impossible for any one of us to understand what goes on in all of the other departments of this school. We're glad this morning that we can focus on our AIM department. What an important and significant ministry this is. We love our AIMers, and we know that many of those young men and women that come through the AIM department come back and go through the School of Preaching, and then they go to the School of Missions, and then many of them go in teams onto the mission field. It's such a significant part of everything we do. We call it the pipeline to missions, and it's very, very important to all of us. Now, in every program like this, there is a time of transition, and we know that Chris Smith is going to be in the coming year transitioning, and that Corey Burns is going to be taking his place as the director of AIM, and we're thankful for those transitions. While we miss the significant people that are a part of that, we know that as newer people and younger people come in, it keeps every one of these disciplines, including the administration of this school, alive and healthy. And so Corey Burns, who is going to be taking over as the director of AIM very soon, is going to come and introduce another transition that is the result of that transition between Chris and Corey. A vacancy has been made, and so that vacancy has to be filled. And we have that vacancy that's going to be filled by a very, very qualified person. And Corey's going to tell us about that. So Corey, come and challenge us.
I think the bread and butter of the AIM program are our assistants. And I think that assistants, as they come back to work with the AIMers and mentor the AIMers to share the experience that they've had on the field, that assistants are entering into a new level of training themselves, that they have more responsibility, and they're leading AIMers to area churches. They're doing group dynamics with them. They're doing small groups. Whenever the unexpected happens, the AIMers are around for that. And so they need somebody there that's going to guide them and give them the training that they need so that they can be as effective of an assistant as possible as they work in this ministry. And that's the role that I came into whenever I started working here at Sunset 2 years ago, was to work as the staff coordinator for the Adventures in Missions program. And as I'm moving into that role of director, that is still a very much needed role within this ministry. And so we began thinking, who do we want to go into this role? And obviously, we wanted somebody to come in that understands what AIM is. And so naturally, we began looking to say, well, are there any people out there that we would want that understand AIM and that understand the dynamic of what it would be to be an assistant and so forth? And we thought of somebody, but he was very much involved in his ministry that he was already doing. He was also a teacher in the school system. He also owns his own business. And so we're like, well, the guy that we think we want, I just think that it's a long shot for him to be able to come in and work with us. But one day he just called and said, hey, can we get dinner? And so he and I got together and had dinner and talked about things. And just instantly after that conversation, I got on the phone with Chris and I said, hey, this person, I think he is interested in working with AIM in the future. What do you think about that? He said, well, it would be an honor if he was able to do that. And so we talked with the rest of our staff, with Pat and Robbie and with Barb, and they were like, yeah, it seems like a no-brainer to us. And so we began the process of looking into seeing if this person was a good fit to come and work with us in AIM. And this person, I think what draws me to him is just he loves the Lord. And everywhere he goes, you just hear that about lots of places that he speaks at with youth rallies and just different posts on Facebook and things like that. You always just hear about his love for the Lord. You hear about his love for family. You hear about his love for AIM. Jokingly, we said he posts more things about AIM, and he doesn't even work for AIM, than we do from our department. And so we talked to James Kinnard, and James Kinnard is going to be coming on board to work as AIM staff coordinator next year, and I think that he's going to do an amazing job. James went through the AIM program along with his wife, Radonna. Not only that, they worked as assistants, and they went through the 2-year program. They were missionaries in Perm, Russia. They've had a child go through AIM. They also have one who's presently in this AIM class. I'm guessing there may be another one coming on through the AIM program in the future. But it just seems like all around he just understands almost every aspect of what it means to work in this program. And so I think that he's going to do an excellent job. It gives me a lot of joy, and I think the thing that gives me a lot of joy is because I really love what I was doing as staff coordinator. And so I think about James coming into this role, and I genuinely believe that he's going to do a better job than me. And that's the kind of person that I want around, is somebody that's going to be taking what's already set to a new level. And so, James, I want you to come up, and we're super glad that you're coming on board with us, and I want to invite you to preach the word to us.
I do need a little clarity from Truett's comments. Am I in the younger person category? Or was that just Corey? Okay, I'm younger than Ed. Okay. You've always set the bar, Ed. So it is, I don't hear that very often anymore, so I was kind of excited. And then he started talking about Corey. I was like, oh, okay. It's really great to be here. First of all, before I forget, or go off notes or anything like that, thank you. You folks are praying for one of our elders, Keith Lambert, and his wife, Dana. Keith is in ICU at UMC, has been will be a week tomorrow, and we still don't know anything. And if y'all could continue to pray for him and asking God to bless him and Dana. There are some little nudges of positive every now and then we have some times that are a little bit more of a struggle, and he's getting tired, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. So if y'all could continue to pray for him, and thank you. It was funny that afternoon, after last Friday morning, I believe, Dana got a couple of texts from folks that had heard about it while they were watching online in chapel. So that was a neat blessing in itself. So thank you for that. We're really thankful to be here this morning. I'm thankful and I'm humble and I'm a little bit scared as well. Years ago, we were visiting my mom and dad, and we were telling them of the final dates and the plans to move to Russia and those things like that. Things had come together and calendars were set. And as we visited, Mom kept looking at Timothy, and Timothy was a lot smaller then. He was just a couple of months old in the car seat. And thinking I had a tough grandma moment ahead, I was blown over when she made this statement. She said, well, you can never have too many people loving your kids. And that was her response to sending her son and her daughter-in-law and her grandson, newborn, and then another granddaughter and a grandson later. And she'd done that before. She had sent people far away. But that was her view, that there would be just that many more people that would love them. Now, of course, again, we have Timothy and Kira and Jay, and we have a ton of bonus kids over the years, which is really cool. And there's so many people that love them, but standing tall in our hearts are Corey and Chris and Pat and Robbie. They have loved our kids like they're their own kids, and in a sense they are. And they have loved them to the point to where, and loved kids to the point to where they spend their lives preparing them and supporting them and sending them to be what they're going to be and what they want them to be and designed to be, that they'll be fruitful disciples of Jesus wherever they are. Field time, yes, but even more so until Jesus calls them home. And I'm thankful for those men, and I'm thankful to get to work with them beyond just friendship and brotherhood over the years. It's going to be cool to work together. Be turning to Psalm 126. Psalm 126. I thought I was done having surreal moments around sunset on 34th Street until this morning. Coming down the street, and there was a bunch of Aimers at the bus stop. And my daughter was in the middle of them. And it's mission term, so guess what we got to do? Keep on going. And then I thought, well, we need to take them to lunch. No, we can't do that either. It's mission term. So to y'all that I've passed by, we'll get together after, mid-April sometime, and we'll go out to eat or something. Those ascent psalms, they're powerful. And they are beautiful. And imagine, and we don't really, in a sense, we don't have to imagine. I want us to look around. Imagine that journey they were on. And I know we think about our journey too, but imagine that journey that they were on, up and back to Jerusalem, up and down to Jerusalem. Imagine the trip. Imagine that time for family. Some of you are going to Mexico City tomorrow. You're packing, and do I have my passport? Do I have this? Do I have, quarters to wash clothes? I heard a discussion a while ago. You're getting ready. And they would go on that journey, not just their family, but their neighbors as well. Your people, my people, our people, making that journey together. It wasn't an easy journey. And we can tell that from some of the Psalms themselves, some of the things that they discuss. It wasn't an easy journey. It was even dangerous in some points, but it was worth it. It's Jerusalem. It was worth it. And as much as we would like it to be, our journey, our time to worship, our special Jerusalem times, our community, our connection with the Father, our connection together with their 15 or so songs that they had. And this morning I want you to read with me in Psalm 126. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamed. Our mouths were filled with laughter then, and our tongues with shouts of joy. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord had done great things for us. And we were joyful. Restore our fortunes, O Lord, like waterways in the Negev. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. Though one goes along weeping, carrying the bag of seed, he will surely come back with shouts of joy, carrying the sheaves. That's one of my favorites. That's one of my favorites. I've been asked to share a few things this morning, and as I do, I want us to keep 126 in our mind. I want you to keep the journey in mind. I want you to keep our partnership in mind. I've been asked to share a little bit about mine and Rodana's story this morning, and I've been asked to share some of our vision and what we see in this new role and this new work. Our story, I guess I have to start with my story, and then we segue into our story. I'm a big we guy and us guy, and sometimes I have trouble with me and I. So, but I will begin a little bit. I was telling some of the Amers last week. My story began in the early '70s. Kind of a big kid, preschooler, toddler, kind of that range, and I had the honor to run the projector for Otis Gatewood when he would come visit our congregation. I had the honor to run the projector, to push and rewind and go back and forth, help get it unstuck when it got stuck for Lloyd Collier. And I grew up hearing those stories about Germany after World War II, hearing those stories about Czechoslovakia, and hearing those stories about the Iron Curtain, hearing about people with Bibles running from border guards and things like that. And it was exciting. It was exciting to grow up with that. And, you know, it was kind of neat to be in a congregation. It was a blessing to be in a congregation that kind of looked outward and helped folks that wanted to go in the big sense of the word. And then fast forward to November 9th, 1989. Anybody know where they were? I was in a car going down the road in the news bulletin. I was coming back from class. The Berlin Wall was coming down. They were chipping at that wall. They were dancing on top of it. Families were finally getting to touch each other after 40-something years. It was an incredible time. And everybody in every conceivable part of life, in business and politics and in military and especially in the church, what happens now? What do we do? Our whole paradigm has changed. Our whole model has changed. And I was sitting there as a 17-year-old kid going, what do I do? What do I do? You know, showing up for class and making sure I got the lab time in and getting those 12 hours or 15 hours or whatever it was that semester, those were important. But I wanted to do something. And then I got a phone call to fill in at a retreat, a high school retreat, kind of as a counselor, chaperone, make sure they all stay in their rooms kind of job. And Rex Boyles was speaking there. We never once talked about AIM. I just heard a lot about Jesus, heard a lot about the church. And we talked a lot during the breaks about what was on the news and about politics and about sports and about all these different things. And as we were leaving, as we were going our own separate ways, I asked him what his logo was on his sweatshirt. AIM. Because I spent 2 days trying to figure out, I wonder, he has it on everything he wears. What's the deal, And he handed me a brochure, and he said, here's his phone number. 806-792-5191. Don't remember it. Glad I called it. Because when I came to Lubbock, when Mom and Dad brought me to Lubbock, I was part of a class in 1990. I was part of a group that I've interacted with today. Not just my wife, but interacted with other folks in my class today. But the day I saw her, the day I met her, not only did she catch my eye, but her heart caught my heart. Because like I grew up hearing from and being influenced by Otis Gatewood and Lloyd Collier and all that, she grew up being influenced and hearing someone named Klein Payton. And all of a sudden, two of us were in the mix of lifetime friends that are trying to figure out what can we do to serve. What can we do to serve? So then my pronouns changed. We were on the same team in Dublin working with Tony Coffey. We came back to Lubbock and worked on AIM staff. We got married after AIM. I don't know if we hold a record or not. Our rehearsal dinner was our graduation dinner. So I know if we don't hold a record, it's close. But from there, we spent a couple years here working with folks that again have become lifelong friends and even partners in different various kingdom works. And then we went to Crosbyton and interned there. Baby comes along. We go to Russia. Baby comes along. We go to Groover and Seagraves. Baby comes along. And all of a sudden, we own a restaurant. We're working with the church in an interim role that's lasted 17 years. And we're so excited to be here this morning. Our kids got a taste of the world, got a taste of their purpose because of the people they're connected with. And our family has been eternally, significantly blessed by an association with the AIM program and with Sunset International Bible Institute. I'm so thankful, and I'm so grateful. Radon and I are like those who dreamed. We've looked at folks who've been restored to their fortunes, and there's been times where we've been restored to our fortunes, so to speak. And it's a wonderful thing to have a full dynamic relationship in Jesus Christ, because not only do I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, but because of what Jesus did, I'm reminded daily, and I'm told in His Word, and I'm told through good people, and I'm told just by knowing and being thankful that God wanted me. God wanted us, and He paid that price through Jesus. And because of Jesus, and because of His price that He paid, and because of the relationship that we have, I have the Holy Spirit lives in me. He lives in me. Now think about that for a moment. God can live anywhere He wants to. God can put Himself anywhere He wants to. Where does He choose to live? In us. I kind of do this when folks start inviting the Holy Spirit places, and I'm like, He's in you. And if He's not, there's other questions. Okay? He lives in us. I learned that here. It was confirmed here by good folks who invested their lives. And so we've looked at these folks who have dreamed, and we've caught on to their dreams. We've looked at these folks who've dreamed, and we've asked them, hey, can we help you with those dreams? We've looked at these folks who have dreamed, and now we get to be part of this dream in a special way. This place prepares and strengthens people in varieties of ways, and we have a special place in our heart for a place where college-age young people can develop as disciples of Jesus and spend a part of their lives serving the Lord and His people somewhere among the nations that we want Him known, somewhere among the nations. The result is not just a good field time. The result prayerfully is until Jesus calls us home. Service wherever. If they happen to come back to here, to this wonderful place, if they happen to come back here and grow and grow deeper in the Word and establish even deeper relationships, and as Truett said, go through this pipeline of ministry, that's great. That's awesome. If they go on to other things, I want them to be disciples of Jesus that had this wonderful time to build on which to build their foundation and be servants of His. We've been blessed by and we've seen the fruit of this program. And integral to this experience, the bread and butter, as Corey mentioned a while ago, is the AIM staff. And we are excited and humbled and grateful that we'll get to work with them side by side in this role. There's some special people in this room. There are special people in AIM's history. There are special people in AIM's administration. There are special people spread out all over the world this morning, special people in my heart, special people in my house who have served as an AIM assistant. AIMers are changed forever because of that field experience at a special time in their lives. The AIM assistant comes back to Lubbock, and I guarantee you, they will at some point do this. Why am I here? Why am I here? They wonder, what am I doing here? They wonder, how am I going to live? See, many times, a good little secret in the AIM program is a lot of times AIM staff come back in a less financial secure position than they were as AIMers. It's crazy. Why would they want to do that? The AIM assistant is working with AIMers in a work that is ever evolving. We can give you an outline of what they do, but it's ever evolving. It changes sometimes hour to hour, minute to minute, especially in that time from August to May. They give an experience that cannot be, there's no rival. I remember the meetings. I remember my AIMers almost 25 years ago. I've been on the periphery here the last few years, and we know, as we visit and as we talk and spend time with them, we know what a ministry they have. They learn here at school. Some of them go to LCU, some to Tech, some to South Plains, as they're mentored by Corey and Chris and Pat and Robbie. as their activities and their learning environment is coordinated by Corey. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity they have. And it's a lot of work. Corey and Chris and Pat and Robbie invest so much in this staff. They invest so much in these folks that are wanting to learn while they teach, look and watch while they model. It was the same way with Rex and Bob and Jay and Craig and Chad and Jason. All these different folks throughout the years that caught a vision of what this particular group of people could do. They have committed to be teachable and to imitate while they teach and while they model. You ever seen an AIM assistant or an ex-AIMer running up and down the stairs? You see that? Maybe you're just getting in there as the bell rings for class? I think we had some admissions and confessions just then. They've probably been with an AIMer. Or they've been down in the basement working on a project or helping somebody or helping one of the administrators. When I'm getting ready for a good Sunday where I get to worship and serve, there's AIM assistants all over that have already been up for a couple hours. They've already been up for a couple hours. They're heading to teach at PAC in Floydada. They're heading to Tulia. They're heading to Clovis or Amherst or a host of other places. And there they will serve, and they'll get home, guess when? About 9 or 10 o'clock that night. Because that's what they do. Because they want the full experience of the body and the full experience of service for those AIMers that complements the blessing that they receive here during the week and the other activities they do. And it's all in the context of body. They're getting loved on like they've never been loved on by some of these area churches. And these folks, these AIMers, get to love on them like when they found a love like they've never had. When they come bleary-eyed in the chapel, I was waiting for more confessions. When they come bleary-eyed in the chapel, a lot of times they've been up all night counseling an AIMer, or studying, or trying to figure out what we're going to do at area church next week, or what are we going to do in group dynamics, or what are we going to do at small group, or what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How can this work? What do we do? Or they've driven all night cross country so they can make it in time for class. They've been out at tech studying with a future brother or sister. They've been on call 24/7. They're way beyond a volunteer. They're in ministry. They're in ministry. They're neck deep in a ministry that is going to train apprentice missionaries to go all over the world. We used to say a lot, replace yourselves before you leave the field. Here they clone themselves and send themselves out. It's an amazing, amazing process. Strengthening disciples for works all over the world. And as the text says, they've been sowing, and sometimes they've been sowing in tears. But you know what? The promise is, you know how the story ends? You know what our end game is? You know how our story ends? We reap with great joy. We reap that harvest. We bring in those sheaves. It will be fruitful. So how's it fruitful? Beyond training apprentices, this group of young men and women, this staff, what they have done, what they are doing, and what they will do for the kingdom, think about this. What better place, what better time, what better age to build relationships? What better time, what better place, what better age to strengthen friendships? What better time, what better place, what better age to go deeper into the Word? To go deeper into God's Word. Where better to learn how to love the church deeper? Where better to come in a deeper connection with our purpose to reach a lost and dying world? What better place than this? What better group than this family of schools? What better context than this place and the purpose that it gives? Right now, I can't think of a better place to be. Right now, we can't think of a better role to take on. I'm a little scared to death, but we can't think of a better role to take on. We do have a vision. And it's a vision that we know we share with the folks we'll be working directly with the Smiths and the Burns and the Schaefers and the Stevenses. We know we share a vision with the folks that work here in all the departments. We know we share a vision with the folks who come to study, that come here and say, help me grow, help me learn, help me expand my talents, help me find new ones, help me in my service to the Lord. We have a vision of building and blessing young folks, developing strong and vibrant, fruitful disciples of Jesus who in turn will share Jesus in all the world, wherever, whatever, whenever they may be. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamed. Our mouths were filled with laughter then, and our tongues with shouts of joy. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us. We are joyful. Restore our fortunes, O Lord, like water courses in the Negev. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. Those who, though one goes along weeping, carrying the bag of seed, he will surely come back with shouts of joy, carrying his sheaves. The Lord has done great things. The Lord has done great things for us. The Lord has done great things for this wonderful place. For Donna and I, we're joyful. We're joyful. We're ready to get to the harvest. For all that you've